Silence is golden. Meditation matters. By Angelo. Chapter 15. Show me the evidence. Quote, "The man of science has learned to believe in justification, not by faith, but by verification." Close quote. It's by Thomas Huxley. The modern obsession with justification by verification places a great deal of emphasis on scientific proof. Science has done a brilliant job in breaking down the apparently material world into its component parts and understanding how it all works and interrelates. We have used this knowledge to make extraordinary technological progress, although this often seems to have benefited the minority rather than the majority. Science seeks to understand and explain what is already here, and then use this knowledge creatively. We may understand how and why things happen, from the macro to the micro, but what we have yet to discover scientifically is the underlying nature of reality. We believe that the world is material, and hence every scientific theory includes this assumption. Progress is beginning to be made on the science of consciousness, but the assumption remains that consciousness is derivative of matter rather than the other way round. Once we fully understand and accept that matter is an appearance in consciousness, then science will be transformed. All of this scientific progress has seeped into our culture to the extent that science has become the de facto judge of reality. Faith in consciousness has been replaced by faith in science. The consensus view is that we need the scientific proof before we will fully believe anything. The irony here is that the mind of a scientist is itself a restricted version of consciousness, and science looks everywhere else for understanding other than its own source. Hopefully we will get there one day. Meanwhile, we must accept that science has a role to play in validating the effectiveness of meditation. Those who meditate already know the benefits, but those who do not may find that scientific evidence is helpful and reassuring. I had hoped to pull together a summary of the scientific evidence supporting meditation, but the scope is so vast and varied that it's simply not possible to do so. There is an absolute avalanche of research being undertaken, and the rate of progress is accelerating each year. I can, however, share some interesting statistics which will give a flavour of what is happening. The National Library of Medicine (NLM) is a US government agency that is a global leader in medical research and has the world's largest biomedical library. According to the NLM, there have been over 16,500 scientific publications around the world in the fields of mindfulness and meditation during the period 1966 to 2021. The number prior to 2006 was just 100, but this has increased exponentially since then. There were over 11,000 studies in the period 2016 to 2021 alone, and I dare say that many more have been undertaken since then. All of these studies validate the mental, emotional and physical benefits outlined in the previous chapter. The methodologies and statistics vary enormously, but the overwhelming conclusion is that improvements are significant and beneficial. There is a wealth of research information online for those who wish to explore this further. The science is, of course, very encouraging, but in truth the scientists are simply verifying what the sages have known for thousands of years. Scientific research takes place on the surface, but perennial wisdom is deeper down. Consciousness already knows all there is to know. The scientists will inevitably continue their studies, but as the old proverb says, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. The best evidence for the effectiveness of meditation must surely come from our own experience. The only way to find out for sure is to engage in a meditation practice for a period of time and then see what happens. If we start out with faith, then verification will naturally follow. The wave will discover that it is made of water and is an individual expression of the entire ocean. The evidence will be provided by consciousness in the form of intuitive knowing. This is guaranteed because we already are consciousness. Science is not the arbiter of truth, but is instead just catching up with what is already known. As we engage in an integrated meditation practice, so the evidence naturally becomes increasingly self-evident.